Good day, Junior Tickies. I'm Mrs. Brimacombe. We're going to look now at Chapter 3, Activity 2. The following information was extracted from the accounting records of tax traders. Required: open the given accounts in the general ledger and the creditors ledger. Question number 2, post it to the correct journal and the creditors ledger. Question number 3, close the journals and post to the creditors list and the general ledger. And question number 4, analyze the transactions number 1 and 9 according to the elements on the accounting equation. So this is what is required of you. If you look at information A, a reminder. When we have a transaction, we have to post it to the individual's account and the totals are posted to the control account. So if we've done this process correctly, it means that your creditors list, the list of outstanding balances, should equal the balance in the creditors control account. Information number B, they provided us with a list of transactions. Now this activity will focus only on the creditors journal and the cash payment journal. So now you need to identify which transactions will go in the CJ and which transactions will go in the CPJ. And keywords, if you see a transaction where it says bought on credit, then you know that that goes to the creditors journal. And to confirm that, look at the source document. When we buy on credit, it means that the business will receive the original invoice. And they will tell you you need to renumber that. If we look at what type of transactions for the cash payment journal, keywords, issued EFT, settlement of account. The keyword there as well is, or the source document is EFT. Because if you see EFT, you should know that the source document, electronic fund transfer, it means that the business made a payment. And if the business makes a payment, it goes into the CPJ. Once you've sorted out the transactions, what goes into the in the CPJ and the creditors journal, you can post it. We're going to start with the creditors journal. Transaction number 1, purchase goods from HR traders for 12,400, received invoice B831, renumbered number 10. So the only source document that will go into a creditors journal is an invoice. So I'm going to write that once and then we write the number 10, because we've renumbered it. Do not use invoice number B831. You have to use the invoice number which we've renumbered. This happened on day 1. We purchased from HR traders the amount 12,400, and now you need to identify what did we purchase. Take note, when we've purchased goods is shown as my trading stock. Day 6, received invoice AM475 from Falcon Pty for the following items purchased: merchandise and stationery. 2 different items purchased from the same supplier. Invoice number 11, this happened on day 6. We purchased from Falcon Pty. What did we purchase? Trading stock and stationery, and in total we owe 8,390. On day 9, purchase a new printer, 3,610, as well as a cartridge, 1,040 on credit from P&A stores. So this is a little bit more challenging. Why? Because you need to identify a new printer would be regarded as what in a business? This is regarded as equipment. And that ink that we use, this is what a cartridge is, will form part of my stationery. So we start with invoice number 12. On day 9, we purchase from P&A stores stationery and equipment. There's no money column open for equipment. That's why it goes under sundry accounts. And in total, we owe 4,650. Day 14. Credit purchases of inventory from HR traders 3,380, subject to a 10% trade discount. Trade discount means paid less on items purchased. So now there's a calculation involved. There's two ways in calculating it. The original amount is equal to 100%, so 100 minus 10% discount, which means that we're only going to owe them 90% of the total. Or you could say 3,380 times 10%, but then you still need to subtract it. And take note, we get exactly the same answer. To show this transaction, our next invoice number is number 13, which we've renumbered. On day 14, we purchase from HR traders. Inventory is regarded as trading stock. Day 21. Purchase stationery for 1,610 and packing material for 2,840 from P&A stores on credit after 10% discount has been granted to tax traders. So take note of the difference between day 21 and day 14. Here, the key word is after 10%. So there's no calculation involved. We're going to show the transaction on day 21, invoice number 14. We've purchased from P&A stores. What did we purchase? Stationery and packing materials. And in total, we owe 4,450. Day 26. Falcon Pty sold merchandise worth 4,900 on credit to tax traders. So be careful. They're talking about Falcon Pty. Our business name is Tax Traders. So don't look at the word sold and think, but this now needs to go into a debtors journal. No. Falcon, which is our suppliers, sold goods to us, which is tax traders, which means we've bought on credit, and that goes into your creditors journal. What did we purchase? Merchandise. Once we are done with the transactions, we can draw a line and we can total. Next, cash payment journal. So the first transaction said paid P&A stores in full settlement of account on 1 February 2024 by EFT. This means we need to go and look at the balance from the list of balances given on the 1st of February 2024. The amount that we owed was 3,270. We start with the source document, EFT 89. On day 1, a payment was made to P&A stores 3,270, and now very important, this is the only thing that is new. P&A stores is a creditor to us, so now we've got a money column open for creditors control, and we need to indicate that the payment was made to our creditor. Day 8, issued EFT to HR traders for 8,000 in part payment of our account. So we didn't settle it in full, only some of it. In our CPJ source document, EFT number 90, on day 8, we've made a payment to HR traders for 8,000. Day 14, made an online payment to Falcon Pty to pay 40% of the outstanding balance to date. So take note, now there's a calculation involved. We need to know, but what is the outstanding balance? So to find the outstanding balance, we have to look at, but what was the balance owed to them on the 1st of February? And then we need to go and look in the creditors journal. Did we purchase from them before the 14th. And yes, if you take note, on day 6, we've purchased from them. This means that the opening balance plus 8,390 equals an amount owed 22,990. And how much should we settle? 40% of that balance. And this is the amount that should appear in your CPJ. My source document, bank statement, because the transaction said made an online payment. Day 28, issued an EFT to HR traders in full settlement of their account. So now again there's a calculation involved because full settlement of account means that we've paid everything. So how much do we owe? So we start with the opening balance, 20,500, and we need to look at all the transactions that happened during this month up to day 28 to see what is the outstanding balance. So if we look at the opening balance, 20,500 plus 12,400 minus we've made a payment on the 8th, 8,000 plus the 3,042 means in total the balance outstanding is 27,942, and that is the amount which we've settled in full. When you are done posting the transactions to the cash payment journal, you draw a line and you just add all the money columns. In this activity, we only had bank and creditors control because the focus was on payment to our creditors. The next step is to complete the creditors ledger. To complete the creditors ledger, we start with the opening balances. And this is given to you here under creditors control, the amount that we owe for each supplier. So we start with this on the first day of the month, account rendered for each one of them, HR Traders, P&A Stores, and Falcon Pty. And then we need to go and look in our journals. Now we're going to post it to their individual account. Remember that this must always be in date order. So I cannot start with the CPJ and then go on to the creditors journal. We have to check that the dates are in the correct order when posting it to the creditors ledger. So the first transaction was on day 1. Remember now that creditors ledger, creditors is a liability, debit means minus, credit means plus. So on day 1 from the creditors journal means that the business purchased on credit. The source document, invoice number 10, from the creditors journal number 2, and the amount 12,400. My new balance, just add those two together. Then on day 8, a payment was made of 8,000. The source document was EFT number 90 on day 8 and the amount 8,000. Our new balance 32,900 minus 8,000. Very important, after each transaction, we've shown that we've taken it to the creditors ledger. We've posted to the individual's account. Then on day 14, from the creditors journal, invoice number 13, the amount 3,042, the outstanding balance, take 24,900 plus 3,042. In your creditors journal, indicate that you've posted it to the individual's account. The last transaction was on day 28, the settlement of account. This is one of the reasons what I want to point out now. While you're doing the journals, you should actually post it immediately to the individual's account. Because now I can see exactly, but we owe 27,942. And if we settled our account in full, it means that a payment was made, 27,942, and our outstanding balance is now 0. Next creditors ledger, P&A stores. The first transaction on day 1, a payment was made, EFT number 89, amount of 3,270. This means that the balance is now 0. Then on day 9, purchase on credit from the creditors journal, invoice number 12 for 4,650, our new balance 4,650. On day 21, purchase on credit, invoice number 14 from the creditors journal number 2, the amount 4,450, my new balance 9,100. Then our last creditor, Falcon Pty. The first transaction happened on day 6 from the creditors journal, invoice number 11, the amount 8,390, my new balance 22,990. If we purchase on credit, it means our liabilities will increase. On day 14, an online payment was made. That's why the source document is bank statement. The amount 9,196. So what happens with my balance now? It decreases because we've made a payment. The last transaction on day 26, invoice number 15 from the creditors journal, the amount 4,900. New balance 18,694. The balance increases because we purchase on credit. Now, this is our checklist. Each one of those does have a number, which means that we've posted it to their individual account. The next step is to complete the creditors list. And the creditors list is the outstanding balances at the end of the month. So we're just going to write them down. HR Traders, creditors ledger number 1, P&A Stores, creditors ledger number 2, Falcon Pty, creditors ledger number 3, and their outstanding balances. Then we draw a line and we total it. Very important, this balance must be the same as the balance in the creditors in the general ledger, in the creditors control account, after you've posted the journals. If it's not the same, it means that you've made a mistake. Posting to the general ledger. Step number 1, write down the balances brought down and the totals brought forward. So this is important to understand classifications of account. Know what is equipment, trading stock, bank, packing material, stationery, and creditors control classified as. Because if you understand this, it's easy to learn, but where the plus is where the balance brought down will appear. Take note, bank, it specifically said it has a credit balance. Credit balance means it's regarded as a current liability. We start with the balance sheet section, and that's why on the first day of the month, which is February, we're going to have balance brought down on the debit side because equipment and trading stock is regarded as an asset, bank and creditors control on the credit side because it's regarded as a current liability. Our next step is to post from the journals. Posting from the cash payment journal. Bank will always be credited and the rest will be debited. Remember, although it's only creditors control that was applicable now in this journal, I'm still going to write what was the total payments made during the month, and the total was 48,408. creditors control is going to be debited because our debt is going to decrease. As soon as we pay our creditors, it means our liabilities will decrease. From the CPJ, my details is always bank. Indicate that you've taken into account number B6. Posting from the creditors journal. Creditors control will always be credited. Our liabilities is going to increase on the credit side. My details, sundry accounts. And the reason for this, we purchase trading stock, stationery equipment and packing material. There's a number of items which we have purchased, and that's why we're writing down sundry accounts. The rest is going to be debited. That means trading stock, our assets will increase on the debit side. From the creditors journal, our details is creditors control. Indicate that you've taken this to account number B4. The next money column that we've got is stationery, but stationery is in the nominal account section. And we're first going to complete the balance sheet account section. So posting now from sundry accounts, we have to take it on the day on which the transaction took place. When we buy equipment, our assets will increase on the debit side. From the creditors journal, our details is creditors control. Once we are done posting from the journals, we can total by drawing a line and just totaling each one. Except for the creditors control, I have figures on the debit side and on the credit side, which means take the credit side minus the debit side. The difference is my balance carried down, means balance brought down. Posting from the CPJ, or let's rather, we're starting with the nominal account section. An important thing to remember, when we're working in the nominal account section, we're working with totals brought forward. Both packing material and stationery is regarded as an expense. The plus is on the debit side, which means the total brought forward will be on the debit side. What's left? Stationery. Stationery has a money column, which means at the end of the month, we're going to debit stationery. Our expense is going to increase. From the creditors journal, our details is creditors control. Indicate that you've taken this to account number N5. The only account left for us to post in the creditors journal is packing materials on the day of the transaction, which is on the 21st. When we're posting from the creditors journal, creditors control is credited, the rest is going to be debited. Our expense is going to increase on the debit side. Now, everything has been posted from the cash payment journal and the creditors journal. We can now total packing material and stationery. Accounting equation. Transaction number 1. Purchase goods from HR Traders for 12,400. Received invoice B831. Renumbered number 10. Buying on credit means creditors control is credited. Trading stock is going to be debited. Our assets is going to increase and our liabilities will increase. Then paid P&A stores in full settlement of account on the 1st of February 2024 by EFT. It means again, from the CPJ, bank is credited. Who did we pay? Our supplier, which means creditors control is going to be debited. Now you just need to be careful. Bank had a credit balance, which means it's an unfavorable bank balance. That's why nothing will happen with your assets, nothing will happen with owner's equity. Our liabilities is plus minus. On day 9, purchase a new printer, 3,610, as well as a cartridge 1040 on credit from P&A stores. So the first entry that we're going to enter, if a purchase is made on credit, it means creditors control is credited. We've purchased a printer, which is shown as equipment. Equipment is regarded as an asset which will increase, and our liabilities will increase. The second part of this transaction, we've purchased a cartridge, and we said that is regarded as stationery. On credit means creditors control is credited, stationery is going to be debited. Stationery is regarded as an expense. If our expense increase, it has a negative effect on the owner's equity. Our liabilities is going to increase. Thank you very much. I want to leave you with this quote. If you are not willing to learn, no one can help you. If you are determined to learn, no one can stop you. Have a wonderful day.